Question 11, over which interval does function f increase the fastest? So let's look at each answer choice. This first one, remember these intervals represent x values. So that first choice, I'm not saying it's right because I circled it, is saying from x equals -2 to x equals 0. So we're looking at this section of the graph between those two vertical lines. And as you can see, the function, it's increasing pretty fast in that range. It's going up very quickly. So that is a contender for the correct answer. The next one let's check is from 0 to 6. So x equals 0 here, x equals 6 here. Whoa, that was terrible. So we're looking, okay, how quickly is this graph going up in between those two vertical bars? I mean, it is going up, but it's not going straight up like it was from -2 to 0. This is increasing at a more gradual pace. So this one's not increasing the fastest. Okay, then we're going to look at the third answer choice from -4 to 2. So x equals -4 here to x equals -2 here. So in between these two vertical lines, look at the graph. Is that graph almost going straight up? Pretty close. So that one's increasing pretty darn fast. So I'm not going to cross that one out. And then finally, from -10 to -4. So -4, I've already got that one drawn in. -10 is here. So in between these, again, that's not going straight up. It's more of a gradual increase. So that's increasing, but not as fast as the other two. Okay, so that means we've got it narrowed down to two choices. We need to do some math to determine. So let's first look at this answer choice here. Cross that out. From -2 to 0. So we need to figure out which one is increasing the fastest. That means we need to find the slope or rate of change. And of course, the slope or rate of change formula, you should have seen this many, many times at this point, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's start with -2 and 0. Those are the x values we're looking at. So when this graph is at x equals -2, what is the corresponding y value? It's 0. When the x value is 0, the corresponding y value is 4. So there's my ordered pairs. Here's my x2, my y2. It doesn't really matter which one is your x2 and your y2 as long as you're consistent. So it's going to be 4 minus 0 over 0 minus -2. Feel free to use a calculator to double check your work. But you should end up getting a slope of 2 for that answer choice. Now let's check this one. When x is -4 and when x is -2, we need to first find the corresponding y values. So when x is -4, what is that corresponding y value? It's -6. And when x is -2, we already know when x is -2, the corresponding y value is 0. So here's my x2, y2. Here's my x1, y1. Let's set it up. The formula is 0 minus -6 over -2 minus -4. So it's +6. Remember, minus and negative turns to a positive. So it's +6 over 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 is greater than 2. So that means this section is increasing the fastest. Maybe you could tell just visually. I couldn't. I needed to do the math. But this is the section of the graph that was increasing the fastest.